I have to tell you, it was one of those days. I'd just flown the red eye, a brutal 9 hour stretch from Zurich, and I was running on nothing but stale airport coffee and the sheer kinetic energy of being angry. I looked like a disaster. Black leggings, a hoodie that had seen better days, and a pair of noise canceling headphones around my neck like a tired necklace. No makeup, no power suit, just me, Amara Sinclair, ready to quietly check into the very exclusive airport club that my private equity firm, Echelon Global, had just spent 9 figures acquiring. This wasn't just an acquisition. It was a hostile takeover of a failing brand, Meridian Air. And I didn't trust the polished presentations. My personal rule is you check the foundation before you repaint the walls. So I was doing a ground truth inspection at our flagship location, the Apex Club at Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson. I wanted to see the rot up close, unfiltered. So there I was, pushing open those heavy frosted glass doors of the Apex Club, a place that screamed exclusive, but smelled faintly of stale carpet and old leather. And I walk up to the podium, pull out my ticket, a standard first class ticket I bought under a dummy corporate alias. The woman behind the desk, a blonde with hair so severely dyed it looked like a helmet, was deeply engrossed in something on her phone. Her name tag read Tiffany Vance. She didn't look up, just made a little noise. "Excuse me," I said, maybe a little too politely because I was exhausted. "I'd like to access the lounge." She let out this dramatic, theatrical sigh, finally lifting her eyes, and they did this slow, dismissive scan from my worn out running shoes all the way up to my tired bun. Her lip curled and she pointed a needle sharp ruby red nail at the scanner. "Just scan it, honey." I scanned the ticket. Beep. Negative. "Ha," she drawled, dripping with satisfaction. "Doesn't look like you qualify. This lounge is for our premium clientele, not just anyone." She paused, then offered the ultimate insult with a sickly sweet smile. "There's a great food court 2 gates down. I hear their Auntie Anne's is quite good." I kept my voice level, the cold, quiet anger starting to build like a slow-moving storm inside me. "It's an international first-class ticket. It grants access." "Well, it doesn't today," she snapped. "We're at capacity for your kind of pass." And the way she said "your kind," I promise you, I heard that loud and clear. That word, that subtle little dig, it just settled right into my spirit. "I'd like to speak to your manager, please," I said. Those 4 words that usually make service employees flinch, but Tiffany just cackled like I had just given her a piece of street beater. A minute later, a man emerged from the back office. Victor Sterling, the lounge director. Shiny suit, slick back hair, and a watch that was definitely a knockoff, but he wore it with the arrogance of a billionaire. He didn't even look at me. He spoke over my head to Tiffany. "What is it? I'm trying to finalize the liquor inventory." "This one," she gestured with her chin, "doesn't understand the rules. Claims her ticket works. Wants the manager." Victor finally turned his gaze on me, and it was that same dismissive scan, only deeper, oilier. "Ma'am," he said, drawing out the word like it tasted bad, "this is a private club. We have standards to maintain. You are simply not entitled to be here. Now, if you don't leave this instant, I will call airport security and have you escorted out for trespassing." He leaned in, lowering his voice into a nasty whisper. "Go on, go wait out by the public seating, and don't come back." I looked at him. I looked at Tiffany's smirk. I didn't say another word. I just gave them a slow, deliberate nod. It wasn't surrender. It was acknowledgement. And I walked away. They thought they had won the little spat, but they had just signed their professional death certificates. I found the hardest, most uncomfortable plastic chair I could find right across from their frosted glass doors, pulled out a small, unmarked tablet, and connected to my secure network.
I wasn't waiting outside. I was establishing my forward operating base. The first call was to my chief of staff, Liam, who was circling the terminal in the car. Liam, change of plans? I'm in Terminal B and I am furious. Amaro, what happened? He's one of the few who can call me that. The Apex Club. Director is Victor Sterling. Agent is Tiffany Vance. They told me to wait outside. There was a dead, cold silence on the line. Liam knew what that phrase meant. In my world, it wasn't a request. It was an invitation to dismantle. I need a full, real-time audit, Liam, I ordered. P&L statements, expense reports, all internal HR complaints filed against Sterling and Vance for the last 24 months. And I need to know who Victor Sterling reports to. I want it all in 3 hours. I sat there for 2 hours, watching, and what I saw was illuminating, revolting. They weren't just rude. They were running a small criminal operation. I saw Victor high-fiving men in tracksuits and scanning a single card to wave all four through. I saw him shoo away a tired mother and her young son, claiming the lounge wasn't equipped for children. Then came the kickback. A delivery guy arrived with cases of expensive French champagne. Victor signed the papers, and with a sly look around, he palmed a thick white envelope, cash, from the driver. My fingers flew across the tablet. Check all liquor invoices. Cross-reference inventory. Fraud confirmed. But the real gut punch came when I watched them interact with the staff. A young woman, maybe early 20s, named Lena, was literally doing the work of 3 people, wiping tables, running drinks, cleaning up spills. At one point, she accidentally knocked over a small stack of complimentary newspapers. Victor stormed out of his office like a viper. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw his venomous body language, the finger jabbing into her face, and I saw her flinch. I saw her shoulders start to shake before she ran sobbing into the staff restroom. It wasn't just bad business, Liam's audit chimed in right then, confirming my worst fears. Victor's expense reports were pure fiction. $6,000 a week for premium liquor and imported cigars. The HR reports were worse. 31 separate complaints for harassment, verbal abuse, and even skimming credit card tips from the staff pool. And every single complaint was marked resolved. No action needed. Everyone signed off by the same person, Marcus Bell, Regional VP of Operations. I sent a single message to Liam. Who is Marcus Bell? The reply came back in seconds. Victor Sterling's uncle. Nepotism, fraud, toxicity. It wasn't a bad apple. It was a poisoned orchard protected by a system of family ties. My anger wasn't hot. It was cold, clean, and surgical. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I didn't storm the restroom. I waited patiently near the water fountain until Lena emerged, eyes puffed, but her uniform meticulously fixed. "Excuse me," I said, my voice soft, disarming. She jumped, startled. "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Are you looking for the gate?" "No," I smiled gently. "I just saw what happened in there with your director. I wanted to ask if you were all right." Her eyes went wide with panic. She looked wildly back toward the lounge. I can't talk, ma'am." "If he sees me, I'm Amara. I'm an independent auditor. My job is to find out why this airline is failing. I think I'm starting to understand." I handed her a simple black business card. No logo, just a name and an encrypted number. "This number goes directly to me. It's anonymous. Tell me what's really going on, Lena. Tell me about the tips, about the liquor." She looked at the card like it was a life raft. "They take them, ma'am. The tips. He says the machine glitches. They're thieves, ma'am, and they're cruel. But who do we tell? We complain to Mr. Bell, and it just gets back to Victor, and our hours get cut."
Thank you, Lena, I said, my voice firm. You did the right thing. Now go back to work. Don't let them see you're upset. And you never saw me. As she hurried away, my tablet chimed one last time. Liam was on his way, and he was bringing Agent Chen, my head of corporate security and forensic accounting. When Agent Chen shows up, it's not an audit anymore. It's a criminal investigation.
My message to Liam was short. Good. Bring a very large, very official-looking binder. I'm moving in. I smoothed down my clothes and walked back to those frosted glass doors. I was no longer a tired traveler. I was a CEO, and the observation phase was over. Tiffany Vance was on the phone, cackling to a friend when I approached. You again? She shrieked, her voice pitching high. I thought we told you to wait outside. I'm calling security. That won't be necessary, Miss Vance, I said, my voice now the sharp, controlled tone of command. It was the C-suite voice. It cut through the terminal noise, and for the first time I saw genuine fear flicker in her eyes. Get Victor Sterling. Now. Victor stormed out, his face a mask of scarlet fury. What is going on? I told you you are done. He reached for his phone. I'm calling the police. That's an excellent idea, Mr. Sterling. A new, cold voice said. Victor spun around. Standing behind me were Liam, impeccably dressed, holding a massive leather-bound binder with the Echelon Global logo, and Agent Chen, severe, sharp, and radiating authority. Who the hell are you? Victor snapped at Liam. This, Agent Chen said, her voice like Arctic ice, is the Apex Club, currently the subject of a forensic audit by its new owner, Echelon Global. She gestured to me, a deep professional respect in her voice. And this is Amara Sinclair, the CEO and new owner of Meridian Air. The color drained from Victor Sterling's face. He went from crimson to a sick pasty gray in a single heartbeat. CEO? No, that's impossible. This is a joke. Tiffany, behind the counter, clamped a hand over her mouth. Oh, Victor. Oh my God, Victor. I walked past him, right into the lounge I'd been denied access to. I ran a finger along a dusty picture frame. This lounge is a disgrace, I said, my voice low and dangerous, but its appearance is nothing compared to its management. Victor sputtered, trying to regain his footing. You can't just... My regional VP, Marcus Bell, he'll hear about this. Marcus Bell. Your uncle? Yes, I'm very much looking forward to meeting him. Liam, has Mr. Bell been contacted? He's on his way, Amara. He thinks there's an acquisition emergency. Good, I smiled, without kindness. Mr. Sterling, in the 2 hours I was forced to wait outside, my team uncovered a significant kickback scheme, $6,000 a week in fraudulent expenses, and the fact you've been stealing tips from staff like Lena. He was trapped. The arrogance was gone, replaced by the cornered panic of a rat. You can't prove any of that. I don't have to. Agent Chen stepped forward, flipping open the binder. We have server logs, we have the invoices, we have the complaints, we have Lena's testimony, we have the security footage of the cash exchange. She looked him dead in the eye. You told the CEO to wait outside. You are suspended without pay effective immediately. Agent Chen's team will escort you off the premises. You can't do this, he shrieked. Marcus will end you. He'll have your job. Just then, the doors slid open, and Marcus Bell bustled in. Slick suit, expensive, but now wrinkled and flustered. Victor, what is the meaning of this? Who are these people? She says she's the new CEO, Uncle Marcus, Victor whined, his voice thin. CEO of what, sweetheart? A local dog grooming salon? I am the regional vice president, and you are trespassing. And you are Mr. Sterling's uncle, I cut in, my voice slicing through his bluster, which explains how this man has been able to run a criminal enterprise out of this lounge for over a year. It explains why 31 separate HR complaints were all dismissed by you. Those are baseless accusations, Marcus shouted, falling back on his old bully routine. Are they? Agent Chen interjected. We've already cross-referenced the invoices. We have over $250,000 in fraudulent expenses from this one location. We also have the full list of employees you retaliated against. Liam stepped forward and read off the names of staff members who had been demoted, transferred to freezing night shifts, or forced to resign after complaining. I walked right up to Marcus. Go ahead, call the board. Who do you think I am? I am the board. Echelon Global finalized the acquisition 48 hours ago. The company you thought you were working for no longer exists. I own this airline. I own this terminal. I own your employment. Mr. Sterling, I announced with finality, you are fired for theft, conspiracy to defraud, and gross misconduct. Mr. Bell, you are fired for gross negligence and violating federal whistleblower protections. As Agent Chen's team moved in to escort them out, Victor pointed a shaking finger at Tiffany. What about her? She was in on it. She laughed at you. I looked at Tiffany, who was now a sniveling mess behind the counter. Miss Vance, you're a symptom, not the disease. You chose cruelty because you thought it made you safe. You are on final written warning. You will be retrained from scratch, and you will report to Lena, who is your new interim supervisor. Clean up this desk. It's filthy. Then I motioned to Liam. Get me the list, the whole list. Everyone in the regional office who signed off on Bell's reports. The head of HR who lost the complaints. The procurement officer who approved the liquor invoices. I didn't buy this airline to trim the branches. I'm here to pull out the root. The firing was only the beginning, the cleanup was the satisfying part. 6 weeks later, I was back at Atlanta, but this time the Apex Club was unrecognizable. The dark, heavy furniture was gone, replaced by sleek, light gray pods, and the air smelled of fresh brewed coffee and proprietary white tea. I paused at the smart glass entrance. Inside, Lena, dressed in a sharp, tailored manager's uniform, was handling a major customer crisis with the impossible calm of a true leader. Mr. Davidson, that is unacceptable. It is a failure of our old system, and I apologize. She turned her monitor toward him. The 8 p.m. flight is full. However, I have just taken the liberty of purchasing with my corporate card a final seat on our competitor's 7:30 p.m. flight. Your destination is our promise, sir, not just our planes. Can I offer you a drink while you wait for your transfer? The man was stunned into silence. He left happy. Lena saw me in the doorway and smiled, a proud, confident smile. Miss Sinclair, welcome back. We're ready for you. I sat with her, reviewing her flawless numbers. Satisfaction scores are up 220%, she reported. We've gone from the worst club in the terminal to a 3-way tie for first. We'll beat them by New Year's. Then she led me to the quiet rear section, dominated by a floor-to-ceiling panoramic window that overlooked the vast, chaotic ballet of the Tarmac. Outside, it was a miserable, freezing November squall, driving icy rain across the concrete. I come here every morning with my coffee, Lena said quietly, just to remind myself what happens when you think you're above the work. What am I looking at, Lena? I asked, a strange, cold knot of anticipation forming in my stomach. Gate B12, she said, pointing. The ramp crew. And then I saw them. My breath caught. It was Victor Sterling. The slicked-back hair was gone, replaced by a greasy, rain-plastered mess under a soaked, cheap visibility vest. He was thinner, hollowed out, wearing a sullen, simmering rage. Right next to him was Marcus Bell. The regional vice president in the designer's suits was now clumsy, fumbling with a heavy black duffel bag. As we watched, the bag slipped from Marcus's frozen fingers and dropped with a heavy splash into a deep, muddy puddle on the tarmac. A massive crew chief whose vest read Sarge stormed over, his voice booming even through the thick glass. Bell, what the hell? That's a Toomey. You just soaked $1,000 bag. Pick it up, you incompetent fool. Pick it up and wipe it down.
Marcus, the man who used to end careers with a single email, flinched like a beaten dog. He bent down, his knees cracking, and pathetically tried to wipe the mud off the expensive bag with his sleeve. Victor let out an ugly, bitter cackle, and Sarge immediately bellowed at both of them to shut their traps and load the delayed flight. How is this possible? I finally breathed. I approved the criminal charges. I assumed jail. Jail would have been the easy way out, Lena said, pulling up a file on her tablet. This is Agent Chen's masterpiece, Operation Tarmac. She argued that the damages were structural and moral. The Port Authority filed a separate civil suit for brand degradation. The suits bankrupted them, and their assets were frozen. So the deal was this, Lena continued, her voice hardening. 5 years, not in jail, but in a work-based restitution program run by the Port Authority. The judge specifically assigned them to the lowest rung, hardest labor jobs, the ramp crew for Meridian Air, right here at this terminal. I watched Victor heave a pink hardshell suitcase, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated misery. They have to work, I murmured, the cold, perfect justice of it sinking in. Every single day, Lena confirmed. In this rain, in the 100-degree summer heat. They have to watch people like you enjoy the luxury they thought they owned. They have to watch Roland and Maria and me succeeding. Down on the tarmac, Victor Turan leaned against the conveyor belt, utterly exhausted. He looked up, and his eyes seemed to lock on the massive, beautiful window of the Apex Club. He couldn't see us through the tinted glass, but he could see his reflection, a wet, beaten man permanently on the outside looking in. "Does it ever bother you?" I asked quietly. "Seeing them like that?" Lena was silent for a long moment. The first week, I felt sick. I felt pity. Then I remembered Maria crying in the break room because she couldn't afford her son's medication. I remember you, Miss Sinclair, when you came to me at that water fountain, the only person with power who had ever listened. She turned from the window, her back now to the two miserable figures on the tarmac. "No," she said, her voice firm. "It doesn't bother me. It's a reminder that the ground floor and the C-suite are connected, and that karma, well, sometimes it just needs a good lawyer and a creative judge to give it a push." I laughed then, a real warm laugh that echoed in the quiet corner of the club. I turned away from the window, leaving the two men to their cold, wet lesson. "Come on, Lena," I said, my voice bright as I headed toward the magnificent new bar. "Show me the new selection. After all this, I think it's time to see what we're really selling here." This wasn't just revenge, it was the creation of a new system. I didn't just fire the men who wronged me, I exposed a rot and rebuilt the foundation on integrity. They went from the VIP lounge to the tarmac, all because they underestimated the quiet woman in the black tracksuit. But here's the thing I want to know from you. Was that punishment? 5 years of hard labor, watching their former kingdom? True justice? Or was it just plain cruel? If you were the judge, would you have sent them to jail? Or do you think they learned a deeper lesson wearing that vest on the ramp? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Was Operation Tarmac the perfect karma? Hit that like button if you think justice was served, and subscribe for more stories where the quiet ones win.